what way did you see this team mature throughout the season and particularly throughout the playoffs?
I think we gained valuable playoff experience. I think the more years you go through the playoff stretch, which can be brutal, you play in those high-stress games, experience being down in a series, being able to win 6 and 7 against Memphis, all those things, those different experiences that you have, I think help. And I think we, again, realize the importance of possessions and how important each possession is. And then of course, I think you always lose, or you learn when you lose too. That we still got a ways to go. So I think we had a good year, and we moved along, and we improved, but we still got some work to do for sure.
Nick, what does this team need to get over the hump? And not necessarily from a personnel standpoint, but just little things that you guys got to do to get better to win the NBA championship.
Yeah. Well, it's a fine line. You get to the end. There's 4 teams left, and there's each. This series is a little different with the blowouts in the first 5 games, but most of the games come down to the end, and it's a fine line between winning and losing. So I think for us is just to be able to try to be better in those moments, and our habits have to be good all season. Our mindset has to be right, and our focus has to be right in those moments, and then hopefully you can be the team that comes out on top.
Nick, what was the emotion on this team like this year in terms of just, like from an outsider's perspective, just one thing after another with the injuries, get everybody back, then it'd be somebody else. How did you guys as a team deal with all of that?
I think it started last year with Russell being out. We never really had any of our guys get hurt, and that was a big adjustment. But I think it prepared us a little bit for what we went through this year. I think the mindset all along was we're gonna have our guys hopefully at the end when it counts, and so we gained a little perspective I think last year from going through that, which was good for us. And it was tough, but a lot of teams in the league are dealing with stuff. So I guess it's our time to deal with some guys being out with injuries. But it's difficult. But I think that's part of moving along and experience, and it's all stuff now that we have that we've dealt with before. I think will help us in the future.
I think some people might look at this season and you obviously had a roster that when it was playing at its peak was as good as any in the league. And to not achieve what you guys said was your ultimate goal, people might say, well, here's another season where that didn't happen. How do you guys look at that? Do you feel that old proverbial clock ticking, or is it something different?
Well, I think that our goal is to win it. Our goal definitely now is to win the whole thing, and when you don't have it, you feel disappointed and you feel like you didn't get it done. I think you can feel that disappointment and also recognize that you had a good year, and you did a lot of things well. I think you just have to be able to have some perspective and realize it's tough to get done, and you have to be able to put everything towards it, and then things have to go your way, and the only thing you can really do is be prepared for the next year and make another run at it.
Nick, talk about the bench. You guys really pulled through when people were missing, and toward the end didn't really contribute that much. What was it like from the bench perspective?
We played well at times. We played with different guys this year a lot. In years past, we've had the luxury of pretty much having 5 starters and then a second group that learn how to play together. We had guys in and out. Reggie be with us sometimes. Reggie be starting sometimes. We picked up Cron halfway through the year, who really helped us. But we had to play. We played a little differently, which was an adjustment. And then in the playoffs, it's different lineups, and usually the rotation shrinks in the playoffs. That's the way it usually goes, and that's what happened this year. So we would have liked to play better for sure, but that's what happened, and we got, like I said earlier, we made a good run and weren't able to get it done.
How did you view your role as a leader on this team this season, and how do you want to impact things in that way next year as well?
I think for me, I've been here forever, and I've got a comfort level with what I do, and I think people have a comfort level with me, and they know what they're going to get from me. I think my role in the court is going to change. It's changed over the years. I think in the playoffs it changed. It was an adjustment for me to be in and out more so, and have certain games not get in the game. But that's something that I'm gonna have to adjust to, and if it's similar next year, I'll adjust to that. And I think I can bring a lot of value, though. I think just with experience and being with the guys that have been here, being able to help young players, I think I can really I bring value in that. And for me, that's what I want to do is do whatever it takes to help us win, because that's best for the team. It's also best for me. I've talked about that in the past of you need to create value for yourself as a player, and you need to be valuable to the team. You can do that in a lot of different ways. So I think I have a good understanding of the things I can do to help, and try to continue to do that.
Nick, you made that big corner three late in the third quarter out in LA in Game 6. Is that an element of your game that you feel like you need to maybe incorporate more as you move forward as a player?
I think so. I'm probably never going to be like a Ryan Anderson or a guy that's really just a knockdown shooter. But I think that with the way the game's played, the way Coach wants to play, he wants to spread the floor. And if you're not rolling to the rim, he wants you to be spaced to the three-point line. I think he feels like that's the best way to play offensive basketball. So I think it's something I'm capable of. I think we have a lot of sets where the four-man is set in the corner. And what I went into this year, Coach talked to me about it, but it made sense. Instead of shooting a foot or two or setting up a foot or two inside the line like I had in the past, I worked on moving it back. And it is a different shot, but I felt more comfortable as it went on. I don't get a ton of shots, so that's always a hard thing for a bench player, is to be able to hit that one shot that you might get one every 3 games. But that's something I'm going to continue to work on, and I think for me it can help me get on the floor. It can help us win games, so I think I'm going to continue to do that.
How does it take you guys to get over the end of a season? Because only one team's going to win the championship. How long does it take to get over at this point?
I don't know. This year feels different. This year's a little harder. It just felt like more of a gut punch last night, probably because of the way the game ended, and we had a chance to go to a Game 7. I think the other years we've been down 3-1. It's a little different scenario, but maybe it's just me personally, getting older. I don't know what it is, but last night was tougher to take than any other year since I've been in. So it takes some time, but we're all basketball players, but we're people who have other things in our lives. So I think just perspective on, basketball is a huge part of what we do, but you realize the world keeps moving, and the sun comes up the next day. So over time, it gets easier to deal with. So to answer your question, I can't give it a certain amount of time, but by late summer, we'll be back working out and looking towards next year.